All right, we're live.
Hello, hello
Hello.
from my tower.
Yeah, you're in a different location this week.
Yeah,
Hey.
I'm in my friend's place attic. So it's kind of a theme today, and you guys will find out later. Not from me, from Kari. Why is it so on point? The towers and the magic
Yeah.
of the towers.
Yeah. We've accidentally created a theme this week that we didn't know we were creating.
Yep.
Uh, so, guys, how have you been? Happy belated birthday to
Thank
Alexandra.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I've been greatly enjoying your birthday.
Oh.
I think one of us froze.
Uh, oh, we couldn't listen to what Alexandra had to say, but today we have a nice topic, which is pen
And I'm
collection.
back.
Oh yes. Okay. So
Hello.
Sorry,
Repeat.
our Wi-Fi went down again. I've been really enjoying your birthday gift. It's in a pan already, one of the eggs. It's been great. And
Very
I'm
nice.
gonna show off one. I'm gonna show off the birthday gift from Mom, which I don't know that you saw at Scriptus.
I
I
haven't
don't.
seen.
Yeah, I don't think you saw.
Okay, show.
Oh, are we showing now?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
We'll show now.
of
We
course.
want to
So
see all your birthday stuff.
okay. So Kari got me Parker Quink Blue Black, and this very pink ink, and a bottle of Diamine Brilliant Red.
Ooh.
And from my aunt, I got a $50 gift card to the Toronto Pen Shop.
Ooh, very nice.
Marina knows what else I purchased there, which I can't talk about yet, because it's my Christmas present to myself.
I
You'll see,
mean, yes, but you
you,
can talk about some other presents.
yes, you'll see a theme. I like to get myself gifts, and so my gift to myself this year was custom ground nibs from Matthew Chen, which are lovely. They're
Oh,
really
very
fun.
nice.
I know. That's why you met us at Wonder Pens. My
Yeah.
other gift to myself was something that I told Kari that I'd found on Facebook Marketplace, and she went, "So you've bought it already?" And my
Yeah.
response was no. And she went, "Why?" And so
Why?
it's come home with me.
Yes.
Oh, that's a
And
good one.
It.
yeah.
Yes.
And honestly, I couldn't have chosen a more me blank if I'd tried. It's a River City Pen Company contoured 5.5-inch nib holder that came with the Kakamori
Okay.
nib, and it's lovely. So,
Hello.
Very,
Toronto Pen
very,
Shop was mostly like essential stuff. The video's coming out Friday.
very
I
beautiful.
needed stuff for my traveler's journal. I got an ink that I didn't need, and I finally got a Preppy. I've never owned a Preppy, which
I
seems
Oh,
like a
still don't have one.
weird
you
sentence
need.
to say.
You need. I have so many.
Well, I got one of their Makie fake ones because I figured like if I'm getting a Preppy, I'm getting one that's sparkly.
Yes.
But this was my birthday present from Mom.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Love it. Totally. Oh, very nice.
And so it is. There it is.
Oh,
So
so beautiful. It's the mother of pearls. I can
no,
see.
so this is the test
Sparkly.
resin that became their Winter Sunset, but this is the prototype resin from Winter Sunset.
Yay.
Yeah, these
With
are
the
your
clip.
colors.
Fantastic.
And I still can't get over the fact I can get the cap off. And then Francisco, so originally it had a silver clip
Yeah.
and did not have a nib in it. And Francisco and Tori were at the booth. Tori and I have been friends for. Tori and I followed each other on Instagram for a long time, and did not know we were talking who each other were when we were talking to each other at Chicago, which is one of my favorite Chicago stories. when she went, "You should follow me on Instagram," and I went, "Apparently you've been following me since 2021."
People forget because you don't see people's stories because there is a
Yeah.
trick, right? And so people are just seeing other people's stuff and they're like, oh, what?
But it was Tori and Francisco. So originally had a silver clip, and he switched it out for the purple clip, which they had a couple of, and then it got a purple nib in it.
Yay.
And I actually have not ridden with it yet because you can only use distilled water with it, and I keep forgetting to add distilled water to the grocery list. They're very specific about cleaning it so that you don't mess up the electroplating on the nib.
Okay.
So I'm trying to follow. There's an entire do's and don'ts card,
Oh,
including what inks can't go in this pen, and
Mm.
I'm trying to follow all the rules.
can
But
you
to follow all
please
the
take a
rules,
picture of that and share it? Because that's super important, maybe in
Yes.
Instagram or somewhere
Yes.
that people can get information about that. Lots of people get pens that have plated nibs and they don't know how to
Yeah.
maintain and how to clean the
No,
nib.
so yeah, it's a specialized nano ceramic lacquer applied using electroplating. Well, chemical resistant precautions should be taken.
Mhm.
Do not use inks from Noodlers or Private Reserve. The pH is known to strip the coating. Use distilled or deionized water to clean the nib and housing. Pen flush is not recommended. It is best to leave the nib in housing when cleaning. Handle with care. Frequent removal of the nib from the housing increases the chance of the color chip or peel.
Yeah.
I missed a word in that sentence. Sorry about that. Shimmer inks are not recommended. So it's a good thing this pen is as sparkly as it is.
And on that
Because-
note, how do you guys feel about having like an entire episode on inks? Because I think this is a
Ooh.
great
I'm-
topic.
Should it
And-
be our December 4th episode?
Yeah.
It could
The
be. We
second
could
last one
also
before Christmas?
Yeah.
also see if we can get someone who actually makes inks.
Ooh,
Talk
that
to
would be
us.
fun.
Be nice. I actually
Um,
know a person in Montreal that has her own inks. If
Mhm.
I speak to Scarlett is the one
Yeah.
organizing the Montreal Pen Show.
Oh yeah,
And
she's one of the
she-
Scrivenin people.
Yes, she's Scriven Montreal. So if you want to follow Scarlett, she's and Eugene. You know, Eugene is also one of the
I've got a pen
Eh.
from Eugene on my desk that we're going to talk about tonight.
yes. So that's fantastic. So talking
We're
about
full of good ideas.
Oh.
Thank you for recognizing that.
yes, great idea. I want to shout out for the 2 purchases I did actually I didn't do 2 purchases. I did 1 purchase and then my husband did 2. So I need to show all of those to you. I got
Scriptus?
yeah, Scriptus. My husband got me from Eugene. By the way, this is Eugene's card.
Yes. Well, if we're talking about things we got from her.
Yes. So I got the passport size of the journal. I didn't have actually a passport size for the journal. So for me it was super, super amazing. And look at this engraving on the journal.
They're stunning.
Stunning. This one is teal blue. Very, very, very beautiful journal. And I have inside one of her inserts. And I have another one that I had before. So I have now 2 inserts in my new journal. Gift. My husband chose these 2 items that I'm going to show you right now. This is my husband's gift. It's a handmade pen by London Pen Company.
Mm.
He actually
What
gave
is that
the name
resin? That is a
that's
very
the one.
interesting resin.
Let me tell you the name of the resin. So I want to get closer so you can see the beauty of
That's
this
incredible.
resin. It's transparent, so you can see through, but then the layers inside the resin is also really crazy. I love it. So let me tell you something. That resin is called Irinoid Varzea celluloid.
Ooh, so it's a
That's
celluloid.
the name.
Wow. So
Okay.
it reminds me of my water lily koi in the colors, right?
Yeah.
But it's like extra. It's like little scales on yours.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
that's
so
my
cool.
favorite. So you have similar colors, but
Yeah.
yours is like looks like it has like an umph to it,
Layers and
you know?
And I have my purchase. This was mine. This is a nib holder by Timber Elegance, and he gifted me a box of nibs. So now I have my beautiful steel nibs, so I can do my calligraphy practice with this. I want to show you closer because this one is a mix of black, white, and has this wavy
Oh, that's cool.
details with gray and white. So very beautiful. I don't know the name of the resin because he's the one that mix up all the resins for his pens.
Yeah, and he doesn't always name them.
No. So that's the thing. So that's Pronto Scriptus
Yeah.
new items.
Yes. I made too many purchases to include them all in this video, but seeing as you showed your notebook from Aging, I feel like I have to show my new sport, which is my first Urushi pen. Because a week before Scriptus, she announced that she had a couple where the silver was flaking off.
Yay!
And was offering them for a sizable discount. And she happened to have one of the flower ones. She had a couple of the strawberries, and then she had one of the flowers. And I really liked flowers. Like, I've liked them since she posted them. I think it was the summer for the first time, or late spring. She originally did them on the coconut body, which I actually like more than this. There's just something about them on a clear body, or like translucent body, but it's really pretty. It is not inked because it has a medium nib in it, and the nib that's actually going in this pen is a nib that I got Matthew Chen to grind.
Oh, very nice.
It started out as a double broad Kaweco sport nib, and it is now a cursive italic smooth nib, and that's what's going in this pen.
That's fantastic. I love
it. Feels like the right nib for this pen.
Yes, very nice. Very, very nice.
All right.
What's new?
I got some of my fountain pen day order stuff.
Ooh.
And that's very fitting for a conversation because I've never really had any extended rickshaws that I bought.
Oh, very nice. I do love rickshaw.
I only had like sleeves that would come with my purchase, which was White Bear Pens uses their sleeves. A lot of makers, I feel like, use their sleeves. But White Bear Pens is the one I had, and then I had the one from Atelier Lusso that came with his pen, right? And then there was Fountain Pen Day, which, if you guys want to share, if any of you bought anything.
No, we were at Scriptus.
I said I wasn't going to buy anything, and
Oh, you bought.
But did you buy?
I bought using affiliate credit and Ferris wheel press points.
Okay.
I did not spend real money. I spent affiliate credit and I spent Ferris wheel press points.
All right, that's good.
I stand by the fact I spent no real money other than to pay for shipping. That was it.
Fantastic.
It's how I will say I lasted until Sunday evening. I lasted until the final like 2 hours of the Atlas sale and then went, why am I not doing this? And I did it. So
I got a score that I was really looking forward to, and Alexandra knows about it. So what happened?
Which one of your scores do I know about? There have been two.
Yes, but one is, I would say, on the scale of you know, kind of not very epic in the sense, like it's not an extremely expensive pen, but it's a pen that is yet to come out.
Oh, that one.
And from that point that it's A, has not come out, and B, it's something I think was listed by mistake. Not only was listed by mistake, it was given a double discount.
Oh,
I
So-
did what
good.
when you sent me the price you got it for, I
Mhm.
did have many more questions. But I also knew that there were already brands that had gotten in trouble for listing it early, including Canadian brands. And so I was just like, you know what? People really clearly didn't pay attention to the release date of this item.
But it's also an older store, and I don't think they care. I think they probably get things really like soon because they've been around for a long time. For Fernie's or something like that in DC, it's like one of those old pen stores.
Oh, okay.
So their website is weird. It's like
Yeah.
very funky, old school, not particularly user friendly. So I don't know how I found it there, but it was there, and I just like, it's already discounted because like that's what they do for new releases with Esterbrook, like 10 off. And then for the fountain pen day, they had extra 10 off on any pen.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
so good price.
Suddenly,
That-
you still haven't named the pen, but suddenly the price you got it for makes so much more sense. Are you going to name the pen, or are you going to leave
yes.
people in suspense?
It's Esterbrook ST Jurassic.
It's so pretty.
that's so pretty. Yeah.
They were. I didn't see it in person until we were unpacking them at Scriptus. And if I hadn't come home with a Cobalt, I might have come home with a Jurassic.
And
Yeah.
that one, they
so
also
pretty.
made it as a button filler.
They did.
So
So
but mine is regular.
We only had 2 of the button fillers at the table, and I think they were both gone by 11 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah.
One good
Wow.
thing I had is that I spent all day drawing at the ambassador's table. So I didn't have to spend too much money because I went with a very, very, very strict with my husband. You don't get anything over this price. And I was like, okay, I will get a calligraphy a nib holder. You know, I had everything in my man. And then my husband, now walk around, he ended up purchasing more than me.
Yeah, that was what happened with Mom and I. So my issue was I had made pre-orders. I'd pre-ordered with Pannonia. No, not Pannonia.
Gourmet pens.
No.
The Pannonia ink that from
No.
the
Who's Henry? Penablers. Henry. Penablers. I made a pre-order with Penablers. I'd made a couple other pre-orders. I picked up all my pre-orders before the show started. I was working the Esterbrook booth. And then every once in a while, Mom would come over and go, I just bought a X. And I'd go, okay, sure. Because this is the same woman last year that was not into fountain pens, bought a Kakano at Scriptus, and has now fallen in love.
Wow.
Has quickly decided that my pen collection means that she gets to borrow anything, which is fair. But also that Kari came over and taught Mom how to floss nibs, which is great. She's already...
That is now your rent payment.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, my hands shake too much to do it myself. And so I was paying Matthew to tune my nibs when really all they needed to do was be flossed. And I couldn't do it, but I can't do it myself.
Well,
so, like,
Mom does it. So.
Yeah. Mom does it now. And Mom did it successfully on a pen for me, earlier this week. But it was one of those, like, I would be working the Esterbrook booth and she would come over and go, I bought. And I'd go, okay. Like half of my Scriptus haul video is Mom stuff.
Yeah. By the way, I didn't mention that before the show, I completely forgot about this. I got a couple of pens from stilo.ca that I kind of save apart, and I ended up paying after the show. So before the show, I did like, yeah, I spent more than this.
That's
It's
the nice
coming.
thing.
When
So
you
you
say
guys have
before
a
the
good
show,
excuse.
oh my God, yes, before the show, this happened.
Yeah, I think it was a good thing that it took us 95 minutes to set up Esterbrook, and I only had like 15 minutes on the show floor before people were let in.
Yeah.
I think
that-
that was better.
Yeah.
Did any of you get the fountain pen day ink?
No.
No. No.
I looked at it. Toronto Pen Shop still had it as of Wednesday last week.
I am interested to know what people think about it because it seems like very sheeny, I think.
I didn't find it that sheeny, but my issue is it just looks like ballpoint blue.
Yeah.
It looked like a standard dark, like medium dark blue ink.
Yeah.
And as much as I love the colorverse inks, I didn't need, if it had been something more exciting, it probably would have come home with me, but there just wasn't really anything special with it from what I could tell.
Yeah. Yeah, there were many inks that I wanted to get at the show, but I didn't find them. That I finally went to the store and then went in person and say, show me this ink. And then I went to see the color swatch book. And then I say, yes, this is the one I'm getting. At the show, there were no vendors showing ink swatches. So
That's not true.
Look at that. Our sun is setting down. It's nice out today.
So,
nice.
whoever had all of the Robert Oster inks, they had all the swatches. Penablers had all of their swatches.
Oh, okay.
Toronto Pen Shop did have their swatch books, but they didn't have all the inks that were in their swatch books. So brands did have their swatch books there. You just had to ask for them because they weren't leaving them out on the table this year.
Okay.
I have a feeling that somebody walked away with a swatch book last year and people just weren't, I don't know this for sure, but people weren't leaving them out this year. But there were definitely, because I remember Claudia Astrakiza, I've had on 20 Questions, and she represents Robert Oster in Canada. And she was across from us, and she did show me that they had done all of the swatches for Scriptus, so that if people had come with their swatches, they had everything.
Yeah, I was looking for a Vinta ink. Actually, I went to visit Nelmar. He was so busy talking with people, so I ended up chatting with one of the employees over there, and I got a Vinta ink for one of the pens that I purchased. So I was really happy with that. But then I ended up buying most of the inks here back home.
Yeah, I think I didn't come home with that many. I want to say I didn't come home with that many inks, but I done an ink trade with somebody that I picked up at Scriptus, and I got 3 inks from you. And I guess I got 2 inks from Wonder Pens, but they're actually Mom's inks. So do they count?
Those inks.
Those inks, they're up on the shelf.
Yay.
Yeah, so I guess I did really the only ink I actually purchased this year. I think the only ink I purchased this year was the Scriptus ink.
Yeah.
Oh, Couture Pens also wants it known that she brought me an ink to the show. You did, and it's up here. Apparently, people think the sunset behind you is something I would paint, and that is fair.
The show was.
I'm drowning in Christmas cards still. I'm currently at like 205 Christmas cards painted this year. But once I'm like painting normal things again that don't make me want to scream, we'll get back to pretty landscapes.
Yeah. I'm actually showing. Thank you for appreciating my background.
Yes.
I am a Rapunzel in a tower,
Yeah.
but
You
I
are.
could also be a certain magic person. I am giving Kari an in
You're giving Karin in. Oh,
because
I
she's
love you
ready
guys.
for something.
I love you guys. I could have worn my sweater. Why didn't I?
So there will be a transformation that Kari is ready for.
Are we having the discussion now, or are we having the discussion at the end?
No, why don't you show we have a question is
We
how to
do.
collect.
Yes. But also, if people have questions about our pen collections or pen storage, leave them in the chat, and
Yeah.
we will. I will sort of comb over the chat versus our question list and make decisions.
Yes.
So, as Kari said, question number 1: how do we collect?
You go first.
Me or
Yeah.
Marina? Me. Cool. This is a difficult question because most of my collection is pens that have been sent to me by brands. I don't have the budget to collect pens, and so most of the pens I get are for review. So there is very little, other than nib size, there's frequently very little control over the pens I get in my collection.
Mm-hmm.
But I do, when I have the opportunity to pick. So Estabrooks, other than the Golden Gratitude, Estabrooke has sent me or gifted me all my Estabrooks, but I have picked all my Estabrooks. Kaweco Sports, I've purchased all of them. Like, if I have the chance to pick, they're going to be really girly colors. They're going to be sparkly. They're going to be obnoxious. Other than the fact that I adore Parker 45s and 21s. There is no reason for my obsession with them, and I adore them.
Fine. They are
I have
Yeah.
3 Parkers, and I would love to have more. But really, everything else, most of my collection has been sent to me, but when I get to pick, it's going to be sparkly, and it's going to be girly colors, and that's just, I did see the new Kawecos that are Hello Kitty. They are so far out of my price range, it's ridiculous.
I saw it.
I saw them, when was the first time? I saw one when they had just released them at Chicago last year, in person, and they are really pretty. I just cannot justify that on a pen as much as I love them. So, like, I'm always gonna go for something that is obnoxious like this, or a Banu.
Oh, love it.
Oh, apparently they released new ones that are $50 US this week.
How much
Okay.
was the first release?
They were like $200 US
No.
for a
Oh,
Kaweco Sport.
No.
well, but they are aluminum sports, so they
Yeah.
they are a little more pricey because they have these extra metal parts. The same with the art. For me, the art collection, there were 4. I purchased 2 of them, and I think they don't. The price was too much for what you get.
Yeah,
With
like,
resin pen, even though the resin is beautiful and you get a beautiful clip that is already attached to the pen, I don't think it justifies the big difference between the Kaweco Sport and the Kaweco Art Sport.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Reportedly 177.99, which is almost 200.
yeah.
Yeah,
So, like, I'm always gonna choose something like this.
I love it.
Both have been sent to me. Actually, both of these have been sent to me from Goldspot. Thank you, Tom.
Which they're great. They
they're
really
great.
know what you like.
And he gets the, sparkle and glitter and girly and, like, slightly obnoxious, because
Yeah.
who needs a pen like this? Like there's no reason for this
And
to be
like,
my go-to
come on.
pen, and yet I have it eyedroppered. Like there's so much ink in this pen. I'm
Yes.
going to be using it for now until like May. But like I got who sent me? Steven sent me pics of and a video of the new limited edition Christmas Banu because he just reviewed it. And
Oh,
like he went, it is so sparkly, you practically need sunglasses to look at it. Like I like stuff like that.
my type of pen. Well,
Yeah, it's like
pen depending on the mood and depending on the activity that I'm doing.
yeah. It's like I'm almost I can count. I think I've said no to 2 pens for review. I just don't say no. Like I'd rather try out a pen and find something I like about it than say no to a pen.
Mm.
Like I didn't think I was going to like the twist or the grip. One's from Pelican, one's from Faber-Castell because I don't like the Lamy Safari grip.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually really like both of them.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather try out a pen than not try it out. And I've just happened to be in a position that on occasion brands send me pens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good position to be. Just
Yeah.
you know, you have to rely on like them letting you pick or them figuring out what they want to send you. That's
Yeah, and you have to work with brands that are okay with you saying when you don't like something.
Yeah.
And that's a fine line to walk. And I had to say that to a brand today that like they couldn't send me X anymore. I was tired of getting something that I couldn't use.
Right.
And like that's an awkward position to be in with a brand. But at the same time, there are so many other brands.
Yeah.
And they're just like so I collect based off of what people are willing to send me.
Yeah.
And if you use affiliate codes or any of our affiliate codes to various sites, we appreciate it. They're helpful.
It helps.
It helps and it shows brands that like people are engaged with our pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use your code. I think I use Lori Tata code, and Vanessa.
Yep.
Very happy.
All of them we might have over sooner or later on our podcast.
Well, the funny thing is Atlas affiliates can't use their own code, but we can use other people's codes. And so I just like pick at random when I make an Atlas order. It's like, who of my friends' codes am I going to use today? Who's going to get the luck of the draw?
And remind us about the gold spot. You don't have a code, but it's the link that we
It's a link,
right?
So it's a link that you click. But I believe it takes 5% off everything, including the things that Atlas doesn't allow you to get a discount on.
Ooh, like Esterbrook.
And Galen Leather. And Twisby.
Esterbrook, I saw a very good deal. If any of people listening right now are interested, might not be your cup of tea, but I just saw that Pen Boutique is slashing a price for Sweet Dream.
Yeah.
Big time. It's like 30 off. And plus you can get extra 5 off with affiliate codes that whoever does the affiliate codes for them.
Yeah, I don't know who has a Pen Boutique.
It's the ones they carry Mont Blanc, I think, and whatnot.
Yeah.
They have 21 pen question.
Oh, they have.
I think that's the thing
they might not offer an affiliate then. Mont Blanc tends to be pretty.
I know they have because I've used someone's code before on the purchase with them. Yeah, but it's like 5%. It's not a lot, but still, Esterbrook Esty 35% off.
Oh, that's a good one.
Sweet Dreams, but Sweet Dreams is it's one of those limited editions.
And it really varies. We had 3 at Scriptus, and all 3 were incredibly different. One was really pastel. One had almost no blending between the colors.
And I wonder if this is maybe why it's not so popular. Because I'm amazed that, it's not that popular.
It's definitely one of those resin pens that I'd want to buy in person.
Because you have to see the shape and then.
Yeah. Well, because they're just, I don't know that if I've got a picture of all three, I'll post it to my Instagram story, but all three were so different. And it was like, oh, this is why like people were complaining when they opened up boxes and like didn't get what they were expecting because of how the promo pictures looked. Because there's like, you're always going to get some variation in resin pens. Shannon saw them at the table. They were so different. And the one I liked the best was the really pastel-y, like blended colors one. And that is the one that like most people haven't liked. Most people have liked the one that's really tie-dye where the lines are super defined and the colors don't blend. Like that's the version people have been after.
Yeah.
And so I think that they're probably sticking around because
so that's what you do. You buy and then you exchange them.
Yeah, but the brands that will do that are Slim, Gold Spot Well.
Yeah.
And Atlas, if you leave a note of which you're looking for, in the past have like opened the boxes and like made sure you've got as close to what you want as they can get you.
Now I have a question. Since you worked Esterbrook table and you've seen a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
If we look at these limited editions, specifically the ones that are like the most expensive end, which is the Sweet Dreams and the King of Pen, right? King of Night.
Yeah.
King of Night. That's the name. Sorry.
No, King of Pen is the Japan.
Isn't it the King of the Night?
The Night. Yeah. So that one, how is that resin compares in the way of like its variation?
Lots of variation, but more similar to like this, where it's got like dramatic swirls, but not like the Sweet Dreams where the colors all blended. Like there were still very defined swirls. I really liked King of the Night.
So if you had to take a chance of blind ordering one or the other, which one would you rather go for?
Oh, King of the Night.
Order? Okay.
King of the Night.
Yeah.
There is far less. There is a whole bunch of variation in King of the Nights. I think there's about 5 colors used in the resin. There's a white, there's a gold, and there's a couple different shades of red. It looks like there's a black. As far as I can tell, there wasn't actually a black. It's just a very dark Bordeaux. And so it's really pretty. It's one of those like
the Dracula cape.
Oh,
that's very cute.
But also if you look at it, if you take the pen out of it and look at it, it's a pen nib. Like it's absurd. And I adore it. And part of me wants the pen only because I want the cape.
Very nice.
And I don't think Esterbrook will send me one, but I would really like one.
I do.
Because it's sort of fabulous. But it's sort of like the it's a Conklin. The Conklin 1898 in purple, which I don't know where it is right now, where there is no possible way for that resin to be ugly. It is a mix of purple, blue, and pink. There was no ugly pen. You just had pens that were like slightly more of one color than the other. And that's how King of the Night feels. Like, there is not, as far as I can tell, like there isn't an ugly one, and you don't have as much variation as Sweet Dreams. And so if you're somebody that really doesn't like or is indecisive, like would want to pick it out in person and just can't in this case, and know you want one or the other, I would probably go with King of the Night. Just because there's so much variation in the Sweet Dreams.
Very nice. Very, very nice.
All right. I've talked for a very long time. Somebody else go.
Well,
I love it.
Before, because I forgot to also tell you what else has happened, and Alexandra knows, and those who follow me might know too. Unexpectedly, I got a mention on the live stream from Hemingway Jones yesterday, which was very sweet. It was 3 minutes of fame.
It was, but it was great. I watched it. I watched the replay of it.
Very sweet. So he has a set of mine, a set of paints that I made that were inspired. I was making them for a different occasion, but it happened that he sort of inspired it because he was going to Venice. And Venice, Italy is, you know, what I've been, and I think it's dreamy. It's a beautiful place. And I was like, well, why don't I work with that? So I ended up with a set that is both kind of fall, it's like late fall to almost early spring in Venice, like all of these colors that are, for me personally, my time there represent Venice. And so I sent it to him. He ended up not taking it with him to Venice, but from what I understand, he is very much enjoying it.
Yeah,
so he's using it.
Posts.
Yeah, so that was sweet. And another thing, my latest video just reached over 1,000 views.
Oh, congratulations.
Which is odd. Yeah, thank you. That one is on Great Gatsby.
Very beautiful.
And that is ink, but I also talk pens. And I talk about the pen that people might have forgotten about. So I compare and contrast with an older pen they've done, which I personally like, and I think it's beautiful, especially compared to what they came out with now. So if you haven't seen it,
I'm incredibly behind in YouTube.
Me too.
I have your video open. I've had it open since the day it came out. But between being in Toronto for the Royal and getting back here and realizing that like I have to edit because I'm seeing Taylor Swift next week.
Yeah.
And that is going to kill the brain injury. And I'm going to be out of commission for like 5 days.
Is it weird that Sweet Dreams pen reminds me of Taylor Swift?
Oh no, it totally reminds me of Taylor Swift. And I'm like secretly hoping that there's a stash of the fountain pen that they're going to drop in Toronto at the merch booth, and I'm going to be able to pick one up in person because I really want to review one. And Maya refuses to use a fountain pen unless it's the Taylor Swift pen, and I desperately want to convert her. So I need either I need to track one down on the secondhand market, which is seeming less and less unlikely, or I need her to re-release the pen because as ungreat of a pen as it was, if it's the gateway drug to getting Maya into fountain pens, it's worth it.
Yes. The friend needs to be pen-abled.
Yeah.
That's my sister-in-law. She's a big Taylor Swift fan, and I feel like she texted me Happy Fountain Pen Day just because she found out it from one of the Taylor Swift community, I think, Instagram posts. So,
Marina, how do you collect?
So I collect. I have a formula of 3 to 5. I call it. So eventually, I think I will land on one specific brand if I want to be a very serious collector. You know, sort of like Pelican Perch guy who only does pelicans. So he had several different brands that he collected before. Then he kind of sold them off, from what I understand, and started doing pelican exclusively. So for me, that's a very serious collector. But I also think we all are collectors. If you have more than 3 pens, you probably are a collector. And so for me, I have brands that I have 0 pens from, but the ones that I have pens from, I'm trying to stick. I'm playing around, but I'm trying to stick to this formula of 3 to 5, where I have 3 pens that would represent different either stages of development of that company. So say an older pen, and somewhat newer pen, and the newest model. Or if we're talking Pelicans, it can be, like M200, 400, 600, 800, and 1000. One of each. And you don't just like get to that point. You kind of play around, you get rid of something, but like you stay in the realm of like, okay, 3 to 5 pens from this company, 3 to 5. If you can. I think the charm for me is kind of getting to the point where it's such a beautiful little selection, because as Alexandra said, like, I don't have that much money either. But if I can acquire a few pens and enjoy them and then resell them and buy the new ones, the ones that I really feel like this is like the masterpiece of like tiny collection I'm making, tiny sample. That's kind of my goal. That's what I am with some stuff, but I'm not completely there yet. Like I am doing that with Omas currently.
Ooh.
So Omas,
Vintage or new? Because
well, here's the thing. That's what I'm doing. I have a beautiful old Minerva pen. So that was sub-brand of Omas. So that pen is from the 30s. It's oversized. It's beautiful. It still writes like a dream. It's flexy.
very
And then I have that one. So that is the one for the first spot. The second spot, I have the pen from 1990s. That is Omas Paragon. So that might change or not change, but I want a Paragon that is in the beautiful celluloid.
yeah, the brownish.
Yeah. And the third one, I decided not to go with the modern Omas that is, done right now. I've decided to go with Scribo.
Oh, yeah.
So the third pen will be Scribo. And so this is kind of the way, all of those are expensive, beautiful brand, represents so much in history of penmanship and fountain pens. But also for me, it's special because it's one of the best Italian brands.
Yeah. And by the way, if we think about the production of the Omas and the production of Scribo, they come from the same family. So that's kind of the good
And this is what I thought. Because logically for me would be going to the new owner, Frank, right, who owns Omas now, is like, okay, so logically he taken over. But it's a weird situation with the former people who used to work for Omas made their own thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, which way do I want to go? Do I want to go with continuation of this? There is no wrong answer in here for me.
No.
Or should I go with Scribo? And I
Yeah.
decided I want this to be straightforward. I have my Minerva from the 30s that represents the beginning of Omas. I have my eye on specific pen once I sell the Paragon that I have. And so I'll get the celluloid, beautiful celluloid Paragon from the 90s probably. And then I'll get my Scribo. And that's going to be the representation of the brand for me.
Exactly.
So that's my idea of collecting.
They make a nice set.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice.
And there are so many Scribo models that you can pick from.
Yeah.
Designs.
I remember when they came out with this kind of matte bluish that I really adore, that type of resin. I actually have one of the pens from London Pen Company. The resin comes from Omas. I wish one day I can afford a Scribo, because Scribo is a gold nib, so it's kind of up there.
Yeah.
On the collection.
And it will get more expensive because gold has gotten even more expensive this year.
Yeah.
So unfortunately.
Yeah. So that brings me to how do I collect? How do I collect? That's the question. I'm actually kind of a person that I wish I could buy pens from all my friends and have one pen of each in all the brands so I can try them all and be knowledgeable about pens as much as I can. So my idea about pen collection started with knowing about pens, trying new pens, trying to fix those pens, creating this kind of Franken pens with my vintage ones, and tuning my own nibs. All the things are related. And then, of course, every time I purchase a pen, it's because I like the resin, I like the person that is selling the pen. We discussed this before. I do purchases in person, so everything goes like in the moment, and I see something and then I get it. I do have the luck that I've been receiving pens from some brands, not all the brands that you, Alexandra, has the opportunity to receive, but I have a very beautiful collection from Calm Clean and Monteverde that I received. And then I've been sponsored to get some discount to purchase some pens from brands, and that's how I started. I love Italian pens. I think Italian pens have, I think, the top spot in my collection, and then I will go with German pens because I really like my not so high-end pens, and I do collect Cavecos and I do collect Lamy pens, not Safari, All Stars. So I started collecting, I think, in 2008. After my Visconti, my second kind of purchase that year was a Lamy LX, the one that comes in a tube, the gold one. And then I started getting like all those ones. So I have the whole collection of those ones. And then I started adding one by color, depending on the color. I couldn't find all the colors that I want, but little by little, I'm finding those ones in order to complete that collection. And then again, I have one pen or two pens from some of the Japanese brands. I am getting into Japanese lately.
Mm-hmm.
So I am rediscovering my love for other type of nibs. And I think the best experience writing with a smooth, different type of writing, though, it's Japanese pens. So I have to say that Tasha, top level of pens, and Pilot, and I have some Kuretake too that have beautiful tuning in their nibs, but they are kind of different compared to the Italian ones. The Italian ones, Santini, for example, it flexes really well. Japanese, no flexing, no. But
Yeah.
it's different.
It's very cultural in a way,
Yeah.
also.
But for different purposes, I like to use pens for art purposes, for writing purpose, for lettering purposes. So I have inked lots of pens at the same time because I'm using all of them in different projects, different activities. So I think that's the main thing about my collecting. And I've been collecting for many, many years. And I think that makes my collection kind of big.
You have a big Lamy collection. I remember that.
Yeah.
She's got a huge Banu collection.
So wait, I have to ask you. So you said you only do Lamy All Stars. You don't do Safari at all?
Well, I have some Safari that I had from years, for example, the black Safari and the red Safari, the strawberry ones. Those ones I got because they were kind of using some of the discount codes, and then I ended up with those. And the third Safari that I have is the violet. So you're going to see now. I love the new pens. The new pens, I think they are in my design level, sparkly level of pens. I wish that there is going to have gold nib. If Venu has gold nib, that will be the top layer. Suddenly, they will jump from love my Venu pens to adore my Venu pens. So
I mean, that's Esterbrook for a lot of people, I feel like, at this point too, right?
yeah,
Because they started offering the gold nibs. At least I've seen them for some.
So the pens are gold. The nibs are gold colored. They're not actually gold that are coming in pens, though you can buy 14 karat gold nibs for a few of the pens.
Oh, yeah, that's what I've seen.
They're
Yeah,
just starting to roll them out. So you can't buy that nib in a pen. You have to buy the nib separately from Esterbrook,
Yeah,
but it is available.
very nice.
All right, show it.
So, well, I have more in my collection. I have my Italian pens also in different pouches. These are some of the all-stars that I have. And then these are the 4 safari I have. I have the transparent black, red, and the violet. Those. But now
What
those,
made you stop buying safaris?
oh, I kind of, it's plastic. So, no. It's like the Caveco. I like Caveco, but I prefer the metallic ones, the brass, the steel. I am going to save money for the silver one. Wait, I need to show you the new. So I need to get ready. Wait, this is
We
so.
got some questions.
Yes, and we're going to, most of them are going to be addressed at the end, but seeing as somebody asked.
Wait,
Yes.
wait.
I will say, I saw the Harry Potter pens in person.
I think this should be your answer.
Yeah. I sort of regret not getting the Ravenclaw one, but I can't use the Lamy grips. So as much as I loved the color of it did not come home with me. So Toronto Pen Shop sold out of Slytherin within like 4 hours of the release. They were gone.
Wow.
They had
I
all
mean,
the other
it's
houses.
a nice green too.
I know. And Lamy doesn't offer a green currently. And it
Well,
sold out
He
fast.
had a green sage this
Yeah.
last month.
Yeah, okay, but not a dark green like that. They
This
don't
one is
offer.
dark green, but look at the snake.
Could you uncap it? What is the section? Is it like transparent or?
It's green.
It's green. It matches.
Ah,
Like
emerald.
they're really
And-
pretty.
The good thing about the All Stars that people don't know is that the All Stars that they release special edition, especially with this plastic section that matches the color of the pen or goes with the color, that is not the black traditional one, is that they have a black nib.
I've taken because I'm reading Ravenclaw. I took these quizzes for which house you're in, and I'm in between Huff and Puff and Ravenclaw. So.
I have a feeling most pen people are probably Ravenclaws. We tend to be nerds. I'm saying that with all the love in my heart. Pen people, we're sort of nerdy.
Yes.
We like writing with an antiquated piece of technology. Takes a special type of person. Kari, do you have gold nibs in any of your all-stars?
This is a fountain pen, by the way.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like pen people, I love them, but I think we're mostly Ravenclaws.
By the way, talking about collections, let's remove this one. It's already too nerdy for the hour, and it's hot. I have
Never too nerdy.
I come from the era that Harry Potter used to be released one book at a time.
Yeah, me too.
To line up to get the book.
Yeah.
So
I was how old was I was
kind of conversation about what J.K. Rowling said and didn't say, and then all these conversations that we don't want to get. But in that time, that the books were released and the world of magic that she created out of her imagination, for me, was fantastic. Now I am into other type of fantasy, and I read The Wheel of Time. Well, the first fantasy I read in 15 days was The Lord of the Rings, and I wish I can afford The Lord of the Rings from Monte Grappa, but that's kind of unaffordable and ungettable at this point. Like nobody will sell the the limited edition that they got. But if I can afford this, it makes my heart smile and my soul fulfilled. So yeah, and then I'm wearing
And also, these are so much better. I'm sorry, but Monte Grappa Harry Potter, I just did not really.
Yeah,
These are
I
nice.
I did not like. Though I could have. I do have a Ravenclaw jumper because I was in the. I was. Was I 11 when the last Harry Potter movie? I think I was 11 when the last Harry Potter movie came out. Dating myself here.
Okay.
I think it was 2011. It was either 2011 or 2014. The last Harry Potter movie came out, but I think it was 2011. And so I grew up through all the movies, and I was not allowed to watch the final one. But
No.
my first, well, because I was 11.
But
You don't let an 11-year-old watch that movie. But
Oh.
my first major purchase with babysitting money was Warner Brothers came out with a deluxe collector's edition of the movies in an 18-inch box set
Oh,
that
very nice.
unfolds like it's like, yeah,
I have
and
it.
lifts up. Yeah, you have it. So I was 13,
Yeah.
and it was my first major purchase that I made with babysitting money. And you better believe that I agree with everything she has said? No. Have
No.
I kept that box set? Yes,
Yeah.
because 13-year-old me was so happy
Yeah.
to be able to buy that box set with her own money and be able to finally watch Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Yeah.
Like,
Let's watch this gory movie.
yes. One, apparently we're all proudly nerdy.
Right.
Oh no, it's getting more.
Okay, I feel way less bad about the fact that yeah. Okay. Yes, we are all proudly nerdy, and I'm sure like I can quote entire lines of The Hobbit to you.
Yeah.
I at one point had the entire end speech of The Hobbit memorized, like so nerdy. But we still have not answered this question.
I am currently happy that in Instagram I reach 4.5, and I know that Marina mentioned about the video that reached the views. I am hosting a giveaway for the people that would like to participate. I am giving away, with the help of Monteverde and Yafa, a Monteverde Read Magala and a whole set of 10 inks from the ink sets that they sell, any choice of colors that the winner chooses, and the giveaway will finish in the 22nd, so people have time. And then if people would like to see my whole pen collection and pen storage, I will invite them to YouTube. I will be posting that video soon, and it will be a chatty and long video. So
so we're waiting for a big one.
I upload that.
So, do you have gold nibs on any of your All-Stars?
No, because I want to have the black nib.
All right, fair enough.
I like it. I find it to be better. I actually find it better than their regular steel nib.
I like their black nib. I feel the same way about the Monteverde black nibs. Like I really like them. Apparently the diadem may be a bit excessive. To be fair, it made my 13-year-old heart very happy because it's deliciously nerdy. But I was one of those things that I was not expecting you to pull out on a Wednesday night. Are there any other random things we collect? that we feel like talking about?
I think Alexandra and I both collected for a while handmade watercolors, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Makers.
Yes, I would say that I've slowed down in the past little bit.
Same.
But I don't want to say how many paints I have in my palette, mostly because I don't know.
I mean, I've made mine for a while.
Yeah.
This is some of the very old ones I've made forever ago, and I still have them, and I love them, and they're weird shades of reds and pinks that are all earthy, so
Yeah.
nothing synthetic in here.
I would say that I also collect extinct pigments in my palette and like less common stuff. So I've got genuine manganese blue. I have I forget what it's called, but it's PR88, which is no longer made. But I forget what its actual like colloquial name is. I just know the pigment number. I've got things like yin min and yin taco, like really impractical things that just bring me joy to have in my paint palette, but like aren't needed. And luckily, I've worked with so many paint brands over the years that like most of my paint palette has either been gifted to me or I've been able to purchase at a reduced cost.
very nice. I'm actually into lately into watercolor because for a long time I based my art only on line drawing and using fountain for drawings and doing ink with the calligraphy ink drawings. So lots of engraving and lots of I would say doodles because I am not a professional artist or self-taught and everything, but
I feel like that's the best. Everyone can be an artist.
yeah.
I mean, that's the mindset to have.
Yep.
And I started incorporating watercolor in the past year. So for me, it's kind of a new path. And my neighbor, when she saw that I needed watercolor, and I kind of went for the for some of the pre-made palettes that they have, you know, like at the store. I went to get the Winsor and Newton. And then my neighbor says, no, you need vintage palettes. And she gave me a Pelican vintage palette, and then talents, you know, like those. So I those ones, but and I actually went to purchase the tubes to fill in some of the other palettes that I have. But I want to get into the handmade watercolors. What would you recommend? That's you.
So you guys in Canada have several art people.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Huh. There is a good maker.
None of those people survived COVID, really.
Oh.
There's one in Nova Scotia.
There is. She has just announced that she's closing her shop until the Canada Post strike's over.
Really? Oh, I like stuff.
And her updates in the past year have been a bit more erratic. I don't know. I always like Cosmic Creations is like always solid if you want to try out a whole bunch of stuff. And
yeah,
Laura
she's
does
here in the US.
She's in the US. Laura does some fun granulating mixes that are mostly formulated by me. So they play off of the idea of Schmincke super granulating colors while sort of having more going on with them than the Schmincke super granulating colors. They're what I wish the Schmincke colors were. And I have a person that can make that for me, and then they've ended up as shop colors. I like, Cause Paints. Courtney. I think
people that you're mentioning. I'm thinking, or you send me, please.
Yes, I'm staring at my palettes are on the floor. I've been painting Christmas cards, and because I've been painting Christmas cards, I've been pulling stuff from the palette, and I haven't been wanting to put things away until I'm done, and so I've just got like 300 paints spread out over the basement floor. There's nowhere you can step. Like, it's an absolute mess. But Cause Paints does some really fun single pigment stuff, but she also does some fun mixes. Marina's
So
stuff
for those
is
that don't know,
fun.
so
Marina.
this is the difference. I mostly do single pigment. So
Yeah.
when you use something that is mostly just one pigment at all, if you are someone who likes mixing different paints yourself, I think that's the best way to go.
Yeah.
Also, when you do that one pigment, a lot of times it's actually much more expensive, at least for me, depending on the pigment.
Mhm.
But sometimes it's more expensive to make a paint out of one pigment. Like cerulean blue is pretty expensive anywhere you go, handmade or, Daniel Smith or whatever. And there's a reason for that, right? If it's granulating colors or combined colors, and they're great for if you don't like mixing your own colors.
Yeah.
But also, if I make it a color out of several colors, I use even amount of each pigment, and it's less than just one pigment because it's a little bit from each pigment, which is also a little bit more cost effective for a lot of makers. And that's just the difference, and that's a personal preference. But if you have everything, several pigments, like you have 10 paints that you use at the same time, and each of them is not a single pigment, you might get a muddy result just because if you're gonna be like mixing them all together.
Yeah,
Not always.
and I'd say you just also need to know your palette. I'm trying to see. Oh,
I think the mix is great. So I feel like if you get the single pigment, like say half of your palette is single pigment and half is like this fun mixes that have been already made for you, that's the best, in my opinion.
We're back to Christmas cards. All of these trees were done with mixing multiple colors that were on my palette, and then you end up with a page that's gray trees that are all like different tones of gray.
That's a great kind of way of showing.
But it's like they're not. I know my palette, and I knew what I was putting on the palette, and because of that, I didn't end up with browns. I ended up with like pinky grays and blue grays and purple grays. Like you can have multi-pigment colors. Like there's not a single tree in that does not contain less than 15 pigments. Like it's an absolute mess. I was being really lazy and didn't want to clean my palette, and don't have a clean ceramic palette currently. But it's like once you know your palette and your pigments, you've got so much more freedom to play, but you have to learn your palette and your pigments. But also send me a DM on Instagram, because like I'm stashing a whole bunch of stuff and can like put a bundle together for you.
Yes.
Because selling them to you saves me having to post them on Facebook Marketplace.
And I've been really, really active on painting with watercolors. So I am doing maybe not daily, but at least on the weekend, I will do 1 page or 2 pages of a full spread of art. The same I did for the Toronto Pen Show when I created the postcards, and then I went on with the watercolor. So
no, I love doing watercolor. My issue is I've now been painting trees since the middle of September. I've been painting trees and Christmas balls. It is now the middle of November. I've already made 170 plus Christmas cards this year. Trees are no longer entertaining. I'm so over them.
But you lost all the fountain pen people.
No, we've still got 9 people watching. They have not tuned off totally. Are we picky about gold versus silver, gold versus steel nibs?
Okay, I have my uses. So shimmer inks, because I do love the most.
Yeah.
So I have to go for steel nib and then broad and stab nibs. But then if I have to write a letter, if I have to keep writing something in a notebook that it will have a nice lettering effect, I will say gold nib.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I like to write beautiful, but I think my handwriting looks better when I flex the nib.
Yeah.
Stuff looks amazing, but I like shimmerings. I like steel nib for those, and then just the gold nib. I appreciate the feeling of writing with a gold nib. So I would say I like gold nib over steel nib, but I do like shimmerings. So I need steel nibs.
Yeah. No, I think I'd be a little afraid to put shimmer in
No, I wouldn't.
gold.
No.
Okay. So, okay. All right.
No, I mean everyone can do themselves. It's like fine, you do you.
Yeah.
But I also think shimmerings are different. Your shimmering is not the same as another brand's shimmering. You know what I mean? The quality of shimmer probably matters, and it's like just like with watercolors. Coming back to watercolors, they're literally watercolors, shiny watercolor that I would avoid putting my nice brushes on because it might you might cut my whatever natural squirrel hairbrush bristles.
Yep. It's why I've got 2 sets of brushes.
Yeah, and it's very similar with your nice your nice gold and some ink that is not diamine or something that you've tried and you've had no problems washing out. You know what I mean? It's like very similar.
Mm-hmm. I really have no opinion. It's whatever comes in the pen. Sailor really only offers gold nibs.
Mm-hmm.
They have a couple models that they offer silver nibs in, or steel nibs in.
I mean, they're only ones who offer 21K, don't they?
Yeah.
But I think they have less expensive Sailor brand pens from Itoya. They will have steel nibs.
Yeah, they're just not as easy to get. And so my Sailor is a gold nib. Do I notice that much of a difference between a modern gold nib and a modern steel nib? No.
If you compare Japan and steel nib, they are both hard.
Yeah. Whereas a vintage gold nib, which I've got a vintage gold and I've got a vintage, actually I've got 3 vintage gold and I've got a vintage palladium. Those are definitely much nicer than modern gold, in my opinion. The Waterman Flex is much nicer than vintage gold Flex. Like, it's just a nicer pen. The issue is when you get into vintage, like, you don't necessarily want to use any ink that isn't pH neutral in them.
Right.
Because
I agree.
They're difficult. Is how we're going to phrase that. And so I tend to not care about the nib in a pen, other than the size. I tend to be picky about the size of nib, but not the material that makes up the nib. Because honestly, at the end of the day, I don't notice a big difference between modern gold versus steel. And so I don't see the point in stressing over it. Really, for me, it's a price thing. It's a couple $100 in price normally, and so I would rather not.
Yeah.
I feel like I'll tell you if it's Yovo, if it's made by Yovo, I'm not interested. I don't see any difference. I actually have had better luck with Yovo steel nibs than gold nibs.
Yeah, so all of my Esterbrook's are Yovo, but they're the gold colored nibs, which do definitely feel, so I tested both their silver ones and their gold colored ones. The gold colored ones definitely feel softer than the steel ones that are silver.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, the coating on them that's made them gold colored, it's like the black nibs, they're just a little bit softer. They're quite nice.
But I also think tuning, they actually have people do that for them. And I feel like with all my love and respect towards, Delta, I have not really liked their gold stuff. The gold nibs. I just don't know if they tune them equally well or not.
The Esterbrook stuff is just so well tuned.
Yeah.
Like even straight out of the box. Like my fine that I have from Esterbrook is the nicest fine I own. and that was straight out of the box. I've also got one of their specialty nibs. I've got a mini stub, and that's, you know, been tuned. It's been specialty ground. And again, like, I'm not using the nicest paper. I'm using, it's been used it's been used on copy paper, but it's also been used on Midori MD paper and Muji paper. And like, this pen just writes so incredibly well. And so I think really the most important thing with a pen is that it's well tuned, and if it isn't well tuned, you've got the skills to repair it yourself or to know when a repair is past your skill level, because I've had pens in my collection that were definitely past my skill level for repair. So I can't actually answer this question because Esterbrook doesn't list who does the mini stub.
No,
Yeah, it's a very good question.
I
have
should.
no idea.
The name of the nib is Journalers.
No, it's not.
No.
Yeah.
Gina is the one who makes the journal, but
Gina-
this is a different nib.
This is a different nib. This is a fine that's been turned into a stub. They've listed the nibsmiths for a whole bunch of the nibs except the mini stub. I will, if I remember, I'll send a text to Esterbrook in the morning and find out. Because I did have that question while I was doing my Esterbrook video and promptly forgot to ask them.
Okay.
But it is.
I thought it was the Journalers because that's the one that I got.
No, because they've now got, I think in total they've launched 6 or 7 specialty nibs, 6 of which are currently available. There's one that currently isn't really available, just due to supply, but they were really popular at Scriptus.
I also think, and please feel free to say what you guys think in the chat or comments, how you guys feel if we have like a whole, maybe one episode with someone from Esterbrook, just like talking Esterbrook.
We haven't
stuff.
run this past Esterbrook yet, by the way.
Yeah.
Let's just
but,
say
like,
that.
in the
I have
future-
not sent a text to Esterbrook and gone, will you come on the show?
Oh, really?
The journaler is a medium. I want to say that the journaler and scribe are mediums. Needlepoint
It's from the
is
extra.
needlepoint is a fine.
But
I thought it would be an extra
How about
fine that they turned
Tetrao?
into, but the
Okay.
marking on the nib is a fine. The marking on the mini stub is a fine. The Fude, I can't remember what was on it. And the Techo, whatever it is.
That was the name, yeah. That was
Um,
Japanese kind of variant from what I understand.
Yeah, I can't remember who did that one, and or
Like
what nib
Yano
side we
Mario
started
or
at.
something.
All right,
One of the
Cus-
Japanese
yeah.
meisters.
it was.
and
Yeah.
Are we meeting next week for our podcast, or we have a week?
No, we've got a guest next week.
Yeah,
At least one. But we've still got a couple more questions, both in the chat and on paper.
Would you like me to ask the ones in the chat that we have not responded to?
I can put them up on screen.
All right.
Do we wash our pens before we ink them? No. I know I should. It just seems like I sit down to film a video and I go, I'm supposed to wash this, and then I have to wait for it to dry and everything, and that seems like work. And so yeah, no. I know I'm supposed to. It just doesn't happen.
If I have color
if
of the
the pen then doesn't work, then I go and wash it. But if like it's one of those like flow charts. Does the pen work? Yes. No need to clean. Does the pen not work? Go and clean it properly. Like,
well, to say I keep my pens inked all the time with the same ink. Once the pen arrives, I will marry the pen with an ink. Because I have so many pens, I can have that luxury to have a different ink in each pen. And then I keep them inked all the time and fresh, and I use them. So that's a way to avoid washing them so often. But I do wash them, I would say every so often. I would say 2-3 times a year. I will do a full cleanup and put inks and rotate them again. The only thing, if I have to change the ink because the ink didn't, I would say if the ink will bleed through the page and I didn't like the color or it feathers, I will change the ink immediately and I will wash the pen. But I will not wait for the pen to dry. I will ink it again and then I will start writing. The ink will look like watery at the beginning. I don't mind at the beginning. So I will kind of go through eight shapes and wait for the ink to flow again and then done. But no, washing your pens is important to keep the pen mechanism active. But the best way to keep the pen mechanism active is to write with your pens. So the ink is water-based. You're going to be running the ink constantly. That makes your ink not to collect all the pigment in the mechanism. You know that when air and inks get together, the ink kind of evaporates a little bit and the pigment kind of stays strong.
Right.
Darker. So you're going to notice when time passes and then you're writing again with that pen that the ink will get darker. So that means that, oh my God, I haven't used this pen in a while. You will need to flash the pen a little bit. I wouldn't flash it. I'm just going to push the ink and then release that chunk of pigment and then start writing again.
Yeah.
So
I feel like, so what I do, I also don't really like wash them because like when you get the pen, it's like very exciting and you want to ink it up, right? So there are two things that I do, especially if it's a hand-turned pen. I unscrew the parts, and sometimes, as much as I love hand-turned pens, sometimes they have not really been, like, the particles have not been cleaned out, and it's been sent to me with like stuff, basically like micro kind of thing from the material it was made of. It has happened. So in that time, I would wish to kind of flush it fully. But if I really still want to write, I will not fill the pen. I will like dip it and then, test it. And then I will, completely like wash it. But most of the times, if I don't see that, that kind of potential problematic down the line thing, I don't really wash them. Yeah. So, case by case. If I buy them secondhand, it was mentioned before that someone buys high-end pens secondhand. Same with me. If I know where they come from, a lot of times for me, they come from collectors who've been taking care of their pens, right? So like, I don't really worry about that. If it's from the store, it depends what store. But most of the times, I also don't really, worry. So.
No, I purchase a pen. I do wash the pen. Yeah, you say the particles. I find that one happened to me that the ink will never flow. It was blocked by some kind of oil. It was really bad. So I say, after that experience, I will wash my pens. As soon as I get it, I wash it, I put the ink, and then I keep using it. So if I see that the glitter will clog the pen, and I will keep moving the ink. And I don't know. I don't want my pens to be clogged, or I like nice flow. I like the shimmer to go with all the words the same way, not at the beginning like a huge chunk and then nothing after. I want equal flow.
Yeah, I'll also add that, like, unless I'm putting a pen away or changing ink brands dramatically, I'm probably not cleaning a pen between fills.
Yeah, same. Yeah, it's not completely different color family, you mean, right?
Well, because I tend to fill with a syringe. If I'm not filling on camera, I use a syringe. So the nib isn't being dipped in a bottle. There's no cross-contamination.
So you're only the converter.
Yeah, I'm just filling the converter. And so I Hemingway Jones did a great video on it. Are we cleaning pens too much? And I watched it. It started out as a live. He's now done a whole separate video on it. And I watched it when I was really overtired, but also really exhausted from cleaning pens. Like, it seemed like I was cleaning pens as much as I was using pens, and I was not enjoying it. And so I decided to just take his approach, and far better for my mental health. So if you're not a person that likes cleaning pens, there are ways around it. I also just like stash my pens. If I know that I have pens to clean that need to go away, I will not clean pens until I've got like 15 to 20 pens to clean.
Well, that's it. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I also pens, and then I clean them all.
If I'm going to the effort of cleaning pens, I am cleaning many pens.
Many pens. Yeah. People might think that we clean our pens. We do, but
yeah,
the thing.
This pen, I can assure you, I did not clean it when I bought it in May. It has still never been cleaned, and it is middle of November.
Have you? Is it inked?
Oh yeah, it's been inked since like June.
That's it. It writes.
But it's just it writes. It gets the same ink.
Writes.
This one's never been cleaned either, and I bought it at Scriptus last year. And
Covecos are extremely intense. Like they
never dry out. They never die, and I just like collect them like the apocalypse is about to happen.
Yeah. No, I have had one that I got years ago, and I forgot it existed, and it still writes with that same ink I've always had.
I've currently got 5 inked up on my desk, including this fabulous one, which
is the Caveco disaster. There are all
is
here.
my Hobbit pen, is what I like to call it. It's got the brass clip.
I have one on me right now, but I can't show it.
It has a cursive italic from Matthew Chan on it, because he deals with the insanity of my brain quite well. And when I go, I want something fun on this, he goes, okay.
Do we
best inks for painting over with watercolor? It's directed at Kari. I feel like we can all answer this because I think we all have opinions.
Yeah, we do.
Any fountain pen ink over watercolor, but if it is dry. So basically,
as a base. So ink and then
permanent. It has to be permanent. So I have Colorverse permanent. I have Diatramentis permanent inks. I have platinum permanent inks. All of those ones work fantastically well. So yeah,
this is all I use. It's Sailor. It's Kiriguro. It's been in a pen for many months. Don't put it in it. It is permanent. It's a permanent pigment ink. Don't put it in a pen you care about.
Yeah, that's going back to cleaning when you use pigmented inks. Yes, but you should.
One of my Benu has the permanent ink, and it's an extra nib. It's been there forever, and it works every time. It doesn't dry out.
That's my Twisby. That's my Twisby with Diatramentis. So I exclusively almost always use Diatramentis.
I have mine's in a Hongdian and with an extra fine nib, which again has been inked since last Christmas. I just keep refilling it. But
and ink is the best way to draw the permanent ink after you let it dry, though, because if you put the watercolor right away, of course it's going to feather a little bit, but just let it dry, and then after you can put as much water on. If you want to do water and then a wet on wet technique, you can do it.
So the only issue I found with the Sailor is that depending on the sizing of the watercolor paper, for whatever reason, whatever Paul Rubens uses for their sizing, this stuff will look like it's dry.
But it's not.
It will be. Like, just a tiny bit of the black will float away, but the rest of it will stay. It's like the
Oh.
very top layer doesn't stay, but
I
only on
had it
Paul
with some
Rubens
other
paper.
ink. I think
And
I've
it's
had
like,
this happen with Nooblers.
yeah, it's like, what is Paul Rubens sizing for their paper? Because everything else is fine on. Like, it's fine on Arches, it's fine on Meaden, it works on Fabriano. And
That's easy to achieve.
But it doesn't work on Paul Rubens paper.
Yeah. Well, I've been trying out Edster notebooks. Are hot press.
Mm-hmm.
I really love that paper, but now I got a sketchbook. I don't know if I have here.
I have converted quite a bit to hot press. I do enjoy a mix though of them, kind of.
Oh.
I got this one. This one was recommended by a watercolor artist called Martin Lamer or something like that. He is located in the Netherlands, but he comes from Poland. And he says, I am doing some ink studies and I am doing watercolor, and I use this one as my daily sketch. And actually really works. The page is not too thick. So it's a 100 GSM. Let's. It doesn't say anything here. So I'm trying.
Yeah, you don't need a 300 GSM. That's the thing. I mean,
yeah.
I paint. I think tiny trees are on 150. Like, they're not, or 200. Like, they're on 100% cotton, but they're not on fancy paper.
So this one is cotton, 100% cotton. That's the only thing I know. But Edster is fantastic, but it's so thick, and I find that it's so expensive. And then if I made a mistake and I have to do another page, I will try to fix it as much as I can to make it work in that spread, because the paper is already on the next level of expensive. So
yeah, I like the Legion paper, which is made in the US, but it's become increasingly harder to find in Canada the past couple months.
Oh.
Michael's used to carry it, and they no longer carry it. And I then also used to buy it at Gortzman's, but Gortzman's has been closed since May. And I did go in last week, but I didn't look to see if they still carried Legion paper. Because I only had 5 minutes to shop.
It's interesting because it's not a very expensive paper. It's good. I mean,
but it is.
Here you can
find one of my favorite papers, but it's a pain to order it from Jackson's.
Yeah.
And so I'd prefer to be able to buy it locally again.
Yeah.
Because it is, as cotton papers go, it is my favorite. They even make a black cotton paper, and I've used it for commission pieces. But I've also just used it for personal pieces, and it's super fun to work on.
My second favorite paper from a sketchbook, and kind of in the same level, this is completely white. That's the only thing that I find that is why it's in my second level and not in the first. I like a tinted white for my drawings. This one is the Lloydstrom watercolor paper. It's really nice, but I find it too white. Too
bleached.
Yeah, I've never tried it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I tried it with fountain pen ink, and I did whole painting with fountain pen ink, and it works fantastically well. It doesn't bleed through. This holds really, really well the pigment, but it's too bright white. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys just had the company that went out of business in Canada, Saint Armand's. Like I've tried some of their stuff, but not all of it. It's
my fear is Beam still has their paper, and I keep looking at it and going, oh, I should really try it, but then going, what if I love it?
I think they had an extreme amount, from what I've tried, an extreme amount of very different paper. Like
Yeah.
It's
So
like family. Two people run business for like 50 years or something
yeah,
like that.
Beam sells it in, I think it's either I think it's 4x6. It's like postcard size packs. And I think each pack has 20 sheets of paper in it. And so it would be like, for me, that's a good stash of paper because I'd cut those in half, and then that's my normal canvas
Then you
size.
use.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the question is,
Yeah.
how many paper notebooks you have unopened?
A lot,
And
like 20.
how much paper do you have in your stash that you haven't
How much
used
do you
yet?
need?
How much? So notebooks unopened, 2.
Huh.
I've got 3. I've got 1 watercolor traveler's insert. I have 1 blank traveler's insert, both for passport, and then I have 1 dot insert for the full-size journal. That's it. Paper, on the other hand, I have quite a lot of, but I also go through quite a lot of watercolor paper, and Jackson's sent me a box of, I think it was 12 Legion pads back in the spring, and I was going to use them for tiny trees and Christmas cards, and then I sort of forgot and started to do them as big sheets. And so any of like my one-off individual Christmas cards this year will be done on those little cards because they're pre-cut for my convenience. But I probably have, I want to say I have paper to get me through until like February. Like, it's not actually that much paper when I actually think about it, because that's like 3 months. Like, that's about the stash I want to have at any given time.
Yeah,
Because
it's too many notebooks.
Yeah.
I on my Toronto list last week was I need dotted traveler's notebooks. I couldn't find them. They were sold out everywhere.
Yeah, that's it.
But it's like I probably go through a dotted traveler's notebook every 10 days to 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And I'm coming to the end of this one.
Yeah.
I'm going, okay, so you're going to have to write on blank paper without lines or dots, which I'm not looking forward to because my writing is horrendous without lines. But I also never want to not have a stash of paper because you never know what's going to be sold out at any given time.
Yeah,
So
that's
I always like to have at least a little bit of my nice paper. So I've got, my local art store will cut down full sheets of arch for me, and so I've got hot press and regular, and maybe a little bit of rough left. And so that I've got a sheet of each, and that'll probably last me the year. I don't use it all that often. But like the other paper stuff, like I've got celluloid stuff, and then I've got cotton stuff, and that's all probably a stash until like February.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing was at the beginning, when all the craziness about Tomoe River going out of business or not that paper again. So I kind of accumulated a little bit on that time. And then, of course, watercolor paper. I got a couple of sketchbooks to try, and then I've been receiving some notebooks as gifts. So I was like, oh my God, they are piling up. There is a comment that says, I have 18. Oh, you have it there. 18 notebooks. Yes. That's kind of what is going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I never want to be
without person who sends me stuff,
right.
and I buy from her, but she sends me extra.
Oh, that's
Wow.
pretty.
Beautiful.
Yeah, she's incredible. She's Italian. She lives in New York, and she makes stuff there. This was made by her in
Handmade.
2023. I still haven't used it.
Here.
So what I do, I take this with me when I travel. So this is my only thing. And if it's unopened thing, I just take it, and that's when I start using it. But I feel like there is a fine line between, because again, she uses incredible paper, and it's different paper every time. She brings stuff from Italy. So it's like there's a fine line between hoarding and actually buying not only as much as you can use, but the little extra. So, is if you run out, you have it on hand, right?
Yeah.
If anything happens.
Do I own too many inks? Yes. But a great deal of them are from brands, and then I participate in a lot of ink trades, and I send ink samples to people, and really most of these bottles are like a third empty at least. Makes it look less bad. But
I think you both have more inks than I do.
Yeah,
when it
paper-wise,
comes to collecting.
I never want to be out, mostly because there are times that it's really hard to get certain types of paper. Like there was a period of time last year that I could not get full sheets of Legion or Arch or Stonehenge or Strathmore. Like I couldn't get anything. And so I always want to be in a position where I've got at least enough to get me through the next quarter, so that I can do commissions and I can do pieces for myself at just playing around.
But also formulas have changed actually with the not for all papers, but some quality has changed a little just because we went through that shortage post-pandemic or whatever shortage of some raw material.
And I actually haven't tried. I have not gotten any Arch paper since the supposed reformulation happened. All of my stuff is really, I probably only buy 2 full sheets of Arch a year. I don't go through it all that often. It's going to be sacrilegious to say it's not my favorite paper. I prefer Fabriano, which I also cannot get currently. I have a single 7x10 piece of Fabriano paper left, and I have set it aside because I know at some point there's going to be a commission that I want to use it on in the next couple months, and I know I can't currently get it, and so I don't want to waste it on something that I don't need it on.
I got a huge pad. I remember a long time ago from Canson. You know the one that comes with the watercolor cold press variation. So that one, and then I was like, okay, I started doing watercolor at that time, and I already ran out of that one. So I'm going to get another one of those ones. It's super affordable. Maybe not at the level of Fabriano, because Fabriano I really like. But if people looks for an affordable pad for watercolor paper, that's the one that I can recommend.
I would say 75 ink samples is not a problem. I'm looking at a bin on the floor that probably has 75 ink samples on it.
I think samples are so much easier to trade or send off if you don't like it. I think that's actually smarter to have samples.
And sometimes I swatch a sample and then end up retrading them.
Yeah.
Because I discover the color's not for me. I also then keep the swatches so that I know what the color looks like.
Exactly.
And that I've tried it, and so that I know that I didn't like it. And I'll write on the back of the cola ring that I retraded it and what I didn't like about it. So I've got some, I didn't like them because of how long they took to dry. They didn't work in whatever pen I tried them in. I put notes on the back of my cola ring dippers for colors that I've traded away.
There is one thing about the coloring dip material of paper, talking about paper, and that I think that there are better ink paper that could actually serve a better purpose than the coloring paper.
I actually really like the paper, and I find that it's true enough to color for the paper that I write on. And for me, that's what's important. It's the being true to color for what I'm actually writing on that I care about. Because I don't really like people complain that it doesn't sheen as much as other papers. Like that doesn't matter to me. I don't
Properties
really use. I don't use inks that sheen anyways. Like I'm
And then you
so against them. I use
like
inks
nibs that are a little finer, right? On the finer side. So in the finer ones, you don't really see
well,
that.
I'm weird. Like I like the fine nibs. Like I'm currently in love with my medium stub, my mini stub from Estabrook. But then I've got so many double broads inked up currently. My issue tends to be with like normal, medium, and fine nibs. I like fines that have been turned into something else. So I love my Pelican extra fine M205 rose quartz that Matthew Chen has turned into a stub-ish nib because it was too small to become a proper stub, but the tines were on top. Like as soon as he looked at it, he went, "Oh, it's very clear why you dislike this pen." Like the tines were on top of each other and twisted, and it was like a mess. But so it's a stub-ish nib now. Oh, I've lost my train of thought. Okay.
We're at the end of the show here.
Nibs. Okay. Yeah. Brain injury is being a brain injury. Okay. What was I saying?
Yeah.
You were talking about your nib preferences because I've mentioned that you like finer stuff, and the finer stuff does not show all the properties of the ink. Usually.
Okay. I like finer stuff that has had something done to it. I like extra fine that's been turned stub-ish. I like a mini stub from Estabrook. Do I like fines and mediums normally? No. I tend to go broad and double broad, but I also cannot write with a stub to save my life. Like it's just I like the smaller sizes because I write on not great paper, but it does not work for me well. Like my handwriting is so bad that using a broader nib looks better.
Yeah.
My writing looks less like chicken scratch with a broader nib, so I tend to prefer a broader nib.
I like the broader nibs. I think broader nibs will make handwriting easier for everybody.
Yeah.
Are we going to rapid fire our way through the last 3 questions this evening?
Okay, really quick.
Custom grinds, yes or no?
So we should wrap it up. Any questions? Any questions we still have open?
Oh, you froze. We decided we were rapid firing our way through the last 3 questions in the doc.
All right.
We still have 3 left. So custom grinds, yes or no?
For some pens, yes.
All right, Marina.
Haven't had any except for journal nib that's coming my way from Estabrook. I mean, no, I had a couple, but I haven't done them myself. Like I bought them already done.
That still counts. Like you bought a custom ground nib.
Yes, I like Waverly. So I have a Waverly nib that I did not know if I like, and I like it the most from all the stuff I have so far. So I guess yes, but gotta test it before.
Yes, I went back and forth a whole bunch about what I was getting for my Estabrook specialty nib, but for Matthew Chen, I just handed him my pens and went, "Please fix," and that is how Matthew and my relationship works. Do you do your own nib tuning, or does somebody else do it?
I do it.
Someone else would do it. He usually comes from a store and is tuned.
Kari taught Mom how to do it. Kari taught Mom how to floss tines of my pens because my hands shake too much to do it. But there are pens in the past that I have paid to have tuned that I probably still would have paid to have tuned just because of the price point of those pens. One was a Leonardo, and one was the master's gift for my grandfather. Both of those pens, I don't want to be touching myself. I want somebody else to deal with them.
Mm.
How do you store your pens?
So I got the new storage that I might try very soon. This was a Droom Google's exclusive, I guess, with Rickshaw.
Mm-hmm.
All of this was like 20 off on the fountain pen day. So I'm gonna try all of this. This is my new storage. I can't say that I do not find Rickshaw stuff very attractive in general. It's just not my style. But I did think this is cute, and I think it's like very good for the occasion. My crazy stuff, I love, this is Galen leather. I love stuff like this because I like grand things. This is just how I am. And so, this is my regular. But the thing is, whenever you travel light, that's not really, way to go. Yeah. So while I store these, and I will continue storing this way, and then I have some furniture at home for my, bigger value pens, let's put it that way. I think I'm going to travel with something a little lighter. One of my favorites is this one, just 2-pen storage. And it's great. It currently has 2 of my high value pens. A Mont Blanc that I never show, because that's one of those Egyptomania pens, so high value. Oh. And the only Montegrappa I have, very fancy Montegrappa. This is like a sculpted in wax, blah, blah, great gouache, whatever you call it. This is amazing. 18K karat gold. The only Montegrappa, but the fanciest Montegrappa I have. So this is how I usually store them and transport them. This kind of looks like a cigar case, cigar holder.
Yeah, very nice.
Favorite up until I finally broke down and got myself some Rickshaw. But I think it's cute, and since I live in California, this is kind of yeah.
Very.
And the Rickshaw team is lovely. Yeah, I love Cheryl.
Yeah.
What about you, Alexandra?
What don't I use to store pens is a better question. Here's a selection of pen sleeves. We've got a Kaweco, we've got a Rickshaw, we've got an Esterbrook. I have multiples of the Rickshaw and the Esterbrook sleeves. I don't know that I've actually used the Kaweco one yet for traveling, but it's super cute. And I really like it. Then we have Galen leather, which you've seen I posted videos on these. This is my favorite thing that I did not think I was going to love. This is their slip and zip, which holds 4 pens and also holds my Esterbrook blotting paper and my brass combination tool and fits in my purse.
Very nice.
I love it. I use it all. Like this is my daily pen case, and it's great. This is one of their 10 pen cases, which is also fabulous and frequently has any of the pens that I've got inked up on my desk in it. These are not Galen leather. These are Amazon.
Yes, I have one of those, but it's easy to transport them. You don't have to worry about them scratching.
Exactly. Lori did a video, and these were the brand that she recommended, and at the time they were what I could afford, and they're great. I use the 3-pen one all the time. It's super soft on the inside, and it's just super handy. Most of the time the pens that are in here are things that I don't want to put in pen rolls.
Yeah.
Because there are not things, there are things that you just don't want to put in a pen roll. I use pen rolls for storing all of my what?
Pen rolls has a sturdy roll, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, these are all DIY. This is actually fabric that I designed last year. It's the flying keys from Harry Potter, which
Well,
feels very on brand for today.
Someone had a very good point and very good question. Fountain pen pendulum. Not sure how I feel about cases with elastic. Me too. That's why I like the dividers. That's why I like the sturdy.
I'm going to say something highly controversial, which shouldn't be controversial. Pens are a tool. They're going to get scratches. Yeah. They're going to get beat up. And if they're not getting scratched and beat up, you're probably not using them enough.
Yes, but high-end ones I would still not put in there.
No.
I agree with you, but yeah.
No. It's why I've got a 3-pen. But also, I can tell you that my Leonardos spend a significant amount of time in my Galen leather sleeve. Like, they whatever Leonardo I've got inked up currently is probably in this so that it can go in my purse. Like, I'm at the end of the day, fountain pens are a tool. And they weren't created. I never want to have a pen that only sits on my desk and is pretty.
Right. I mean, I don't think either of us has such a, except for the feather that Karina has. I don't know if she can bring it outside the house.
All of the pen rolls. So these are what pens that aren't inked currently get stored in. This is sort of my long-term storage solution.
The good point was
anything over $200 stays at home.
Not always for me. I kind of side with the idea that, well, depending on where you go, I guess. But also previous comments was that is why I like rickshaw stuff. And this is actually why I bought, because after using single pen sleeves and then looking like a crazy person, I spend an obscene amount of time researching something before I buy it. Like obscene amount of reviews. And this is why I went with rickshaw, because from everything else I've seen that actually, even if this is not maybe visually 100% for me, I feel like with the way they make stuff, the stuff is protected. Like at least I feel the most.
And so all of those pen rolls, when they've got pens in them, live in vintage Pyrex.
Yay.
Because why not? That being said, we are upgrading. We are upgrading from vintage Pyrex to quality street treat tins with pen trays. Because as a child, the most disappointing experience in the world for my very young life was wandering into my grandparents' house and there being quality street treat tins on the counter and discovering that they were actually embroidery floss and buttons. So we went to a thrift store today and I was actually looking for a cutlery cabinet to put the pen trays in, and instead found that they had many, many quality street treat tins and went, well, this solves my problem for 25 cents a tin. And so, my new long-term pen storage is going to be quality street treat tins, and I greatly look forward to disappointing my nephew when he is old enough to realize what the boxes contain. He's not quite old enough yet, but I like that it's going to live on. I feel like we need to loop back around to this. Because Kari made a comment when she was in Toronto coming over to my house that she felt like she was carrying a whole lot of money in pens. Which made me do the math on the amount of pen, like the value of the pens I carry a day, which then had a discussion, brought me back to a discussion I had today with Shannon of Couture Pens, who went, oh, that's a really pretty spread of pens. And I went, yeah, but the thing is, like, I have very little concern using them because, like, I didn't pay for them.
Yeah.
I've done what I needed to do with them. I've done what's required of them. And now I just get to have fun with them. But when you do the math on the pens, the value of the pens that you're carrying around every day, like, whoa. Okay.
Yeah. I have in my case, I like to store the pens in different storage, similar to you guys.
Yeah.
I have furniture that actually has that purpose, and I have other. On the left side, I have fountain pens, and then in the middle, I have other stuff, and then I have other type of art supplies and tools and extra overflow of fine liners that I use, like Pigma Microns and other pen cases that I have. But usually I have some big, these are Girologio
Mhm.
Yes.
factory brands. I have some of those ones.
I do like their stuff. I don't have any
Yeah.
yet, but
Me
I do
neither.
So inside your pens, they will be kind of properly stored, and then has this divider that will make a safe closure for the pens. Then I have rickshaw, of course. This one I got it at Stationery Fest. Right here I have a huge collection of Scrivener.
Mhm.
Every brand kind of lives in one different pouch. You say, I don't put pens loose. I do all the
Yeah.
kind of.
I know you put pens loose, and that's my thing. Like I would rather enjoy them than being stressed.
Yeah.
The only pens that
That's
live.
a one, but that one does not have dividers, right, Carrie? The one before that you showed. I like that style, but does it have like insert inside
No,
divider? Yeah, that's the.
this is the cell phone case.
I love that. Yeah, it's a good way of repurposing.
Exactly. Then I have these Esterbrook pouches.
Yeah, I have a large one. How do you like the cup one?
I really love this one. This one for me, it's magnificent. Sorry. There.
Nice.
So you put it on your desk, and then you have, well, these are 50s. I have like individual pouches. I have rickshaws. This one is the one that was in my purse. That's why it's like that. But this is the pen roll that I carry when I travel, because it's super light. And Tasha pen rolls, they are sturdy. So this fabric outside is super, super thick, and inside there is silk.
Oh, okay.
And if Tasha carries their pens on those things,
Right, and they are very expensive
they are,
pens.
yeah, and I worked for Tasha during Stationery Fest, and I've seen those $10,000 pens
Mhm.
inside a bag.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm safe. So this one is super lightweight. I put pens, and this one goes in my purse. So,
All
and
right, guys, we got to start wrapping up. I have about 10% left
Oh,
of my battery.
I see. Whereas I'm going, it's 10 p.m. This is
then,
the latest we've gone on a show.
But
Oh
look
my
at that. People are just waking up and they're
Right.
joining, and it's a lot of fun.
This is the last question, because so the most I've ever spent on a pen is a pen that I bought for myself for Christmas this year. I think Kari and Marina have both seen it.
Yeah.
And I spent $240 on it. That is the most I've ever spent on a pen. I have pens in my collection that are worth way more than $240.
Yes, your Esterbrook special edition,
My
the golden one.
Esterbrook special edition, my Leonardo with a gold nib from Limited Pens Korea. I would say there are two pens in my collection that get an increased level of care. That is the pen that my grandfather got for completing his master's degree, and my great-grandfather's Waterman celluloid pen. Those are the only two that don't leave my desk. The Waterman lives in a rickshaw because it's celluloid. They don't like light. I use it. It's a gold flex nib. It's a brilliant pen. It's frequently inked up on the channel. I just haven't had it inked up in the past couple months. But most of the pens I own that are expensive, I have not paid. If I've paid for them, I have not paid their actual retail cost. My Sailor Pro Gear retails for several hundred US, and I believe I bought it for $99 at the Atlas Sidewalk sale. So I'm not going to baby it. The pens I'm going to baby are family pens. Those are the pens that I'm going to care about. Yes, the Gratitude is worth a lot more.
But it's also not,
it's also
Ebonite that's gonna bleach out the sun.
It's not
with celluloid.
It's not this. It's not a pen that's been around since 1947 and been in our family since then. Like I'm gonna baby this, and I'm gonna use it. If you go back and watch Paint Your Styles from last year, I use this pen all the time. But
I care about all my pens equally.
Like
the cheapest pen. The only pens that I treat the worst, and I will say, and I will be honest with you, are the preppies that I throw in my purse when I go to work.
And I don't want it to come across that I don't care about my pens, because I do.
I do.
But I had stage 4 cancer at 18. My view of the world is incredibly warped by that. And there are things that I have to baby every day. I never want my art supplies or like any of the tools I use to be things I have to actively baby. And I have set up my studio so that I don't have to. The most babying I've ever done with paintbrushes are with synthetic squirrel brushes from Tintoretto. And even then, I've had them for 2 years and they're starting to die. But I never want to add more stress to my life by making something that started out as a hobby stressful. And so I do treat my pens with care, but I also use them. And I never want. I remember watching a video last year that Yoast put out, where it wasn't a super expensive pen, but they were talking about like day-to-day scratches on it being an issue. And I'm going, okay, but isn't the point of a pen to use it?
I mean, like, he's also a store owner, so I kind of think that comes with the territory. And I feel like with him and Samuel Naldi, they always wear the gloves, for everything.
It was an ad about like a pen case for your desk that would protect your pen from scratches. And I'm going, like, day to day, a pen over time is going to get scratches. And I just want to enjoy it. And so currently in my bag, not currently because they're on my desk, I'm carrying a Sailor Follow the Mermaid, a Bennu Hot Toddy from Gold Spot that's been eyedroppered. What else am I carrying? The Golden Gratitude from Esterbrook that I won, and a Naviler Horizon that Naviler sent me back in the spring. You can do the math on how much that combined total is worth. I only paid for one of those pens. Are they practical pens to use every day? No. Do they bring me a great deal of joy when I get to pull them out of my bag? Yeah. And that's the point.
Yeah.
The point is it makes me happy.
Philosophy. Absolutely.
I see a lot of expensive pens all the time because Alexandra knows. Sometimes I bring one of these ones out and I go to a cafe and I display them and I start using them, and I write a lot. So I have like 3-4 spreads in a coffee break sometimes. So I document my life basically every single day, plus the agenda. My school agenda takes a great deal of organization because there are so many deadlines that I need to fulfill, and then checklists that I need to do daily, and workshops that I need to give, and things that I need to do. So daily journaling, I carry also a bag of 2-3 notebooks at the same time for writing. So expensive pens.
Mm-hmm. No, I
Big
was just
deal.
talking about it with my husband yesterday, and he was like, he kind of agreed. He's like, oh, that's how people collect trains and whatever toys. Like, you buy two, and then one you store in package, and the other one you use. And I feel like that these are like collectors of Mont Blanc, you know.
Yeah,
a lot of them. Like someone mentioned Samuel Naldi. That's his buyer.
Yeah.
That's his buyer. That's who he is catering to.
And I would honestly, I'd rather just enjoy everything. And if at some point I decide to sell something,
you will.
you know, they're going to be sold with some wear and tear. They're not going to be sold as new in box. That's never been my philosophy. It's just not who I am as a person.
Yeah.
And again, there's nothing wrong with like collecting that way. You know,
No.
If you enjoy it, it's just, it's very personal. It is a personal philosophy.
Then another detail about fountain pens is that you use ink to write, and ink is messy. And there are always inky messes happening when you have an expensive pen inked up.
But that's the question. How many inks would you use if you probably have extremely expensive pens, and you probably have like 2-3 inks you use. That's it. So you have a variety of pens, but maybe not the inks.
Whereas I have a variety of inks and a variety of pens, and I think I've probably got one pen inked up for every color of the rainbow right now. Like I've transformed from like color-coded highlighters to color-coded fountain pens.
Yeah. Welcome to my club.
Yep. Well, it's we're near year end, and it's the only way to keep the video list organized.
Yes.
Yes. All right. That seems like a good place to end. Next week, we're doing a show because the week after is American Thanksgiving, and most of you are American. So next week, 8 p.m. Do we have a topic? No. Do we have guests?
Yes.
Sort of. Yes.
We need
sort of. So it'll be fun. We'll have a great time.
Scripted like everything we do.
Yeah. Honestly, you come here, you get a discussion. It'll be fun. And
do we reveal who's coming on?
No, not until we get confirmation. Let's reconfirm with them, and then we can announce. Okay. If you haven't seen Marina's shout out on Hemingway Jones's episode this week, go check it out. It was great.
Yes.
And yeah.
And
have a good week.
Also everybody's YouTube. We here in Alexandra's YouTube, but Marina has a great account.
Well, down below.
I have a YouTube. I haven't uploaded this month because of the busyness of my work, but I have that pen collection video coming and storage. So in detail what I have, if you want to know.
I have another handmade pen review coming this weekend.
Yay.
Yeah, YouTube. If I get my stuff together, YouTube's getting a bonus video this week. So we'll do 4 videos this week instead of 3. And I think there's also 4 videos next week. So year-end scheduling is getting a little bit complicated as I like have to get things out for brands, and I'm going, oh, I've overcommitted myself.
And I have to say the people still with us at this hour that we appreciate them.
If you've made it all 2 hours and 20 minutes of tonight's stream, Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I
Yeah,
can't believe we've
I
talked
like
for this long.
my
And we'll see you next week.
yes. Next week.